Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have a brand new roadmap roundup update to go over today with a bunch of new information for what's to come in Alpha 4.3.2. We also have some updates to the progress tracker for several features like engineering, crafting, and things like that. So we're going to take a look at what changes have been made on there. But there's some interesting stuff that's part of this roadmap. There's some new Wikelo ships that'll be coming, a new event, some new armor, a couple of other pretty interesting things. So we're going to talk about that, go over some of the information that we have, some images and whatnot, and talk about everything to do with that. So if you want to see some of the stuff that's going on in the latest roadmap update and stuff that'll be coming to the game in probably the next couple of weeks here, then sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. All right, so let's get into the new cards that we have for 4.3.2. Now, for the patch itself, I would assume this patch is going to be targeted at coming out around CitizenCon. We'd only have about 2.5 weeks or so for CitizenCon. So we'll have to see for sure if this ends up how it is. They haven't started Evocati or PTU yet at all, so we'll have to see. Maybe in the next day or two they'll start that up, and we'll have a little bit better indication as to when the patch comes out. But let's go over some of the new info that we have. So the first new card is a new event that says a new event in 4.3.2 related to the Fight for Pyro storyline. Now, I believe the last we kind of had some focus on the Fight for Pyro story was, I think, during Invictus with the Frontier Fighters stealing a Polaris and running around Stanton. You had to go blow them up and whatnot. There was that mission you could do during the Invictus patch. So I think that's kind of the last that we heard of them, and I think the Frontier Fighters escaped back into Pyro. So I would guess whatever this event is going to be is probably going to be back in Pyro. We haven't had anything really like patch focused in Pyro for I guess a couple patches now since 4.2.1, I guess. 4.2 was the Stormbreaker patch with the worm and whatnot. So that was the last big thing in Pyro. So I don't know entirely what the event's going to be. I'm sure it'll be combat related, fighting the Frontier Fighters, probably be some PvP, some hopefully cool rewards as well. But that is the new event that'll be coming with 4.3.2. Next, we have a pretty interesting card, and this is a fairly unexpected one, very similar to last patch when they announced that there was going to be a art refactor for the M series laser cannons for the size 1, 2, and 3. They're now saying here on this new card there is a refactor for the Klaus and Warner laser repeaters, so that's your CF series repeaters, so your Bulldog, Badger, and Panther repeaters. This is going to be updating those repeaters, style, and geometry. Again, this is just for sizes 1, 2, and 3. So maybe the way that they're doing it, they're experimenting a little bit on the styling for the smaller size guns, and then they'll come back through maybe in a couple of months and do a similar thing for the larger sizes, the size 4, 5, and 6 for the M series cannons, these laser repeaters, and probably other guns as well. So they don't include any picture in this roadmap update on the updated style of these. So I would guess we'll probably see that. Well, the next roadmap update is in 2 weeks, which will be about when they'd be releasing the patch if they're trying to put it out right at CitizenCons. Again, I don't know if they're doing that officially, but we'll see when we get some art for this. But I'm with going off of how the M series cannons looked. I think these will probably look pretty good too. So we'll have to see for sure on that once we get probably another roadmap update in a couple of weeks here. Okay, then the next card is new Wikelo ship offerings, adding multiple new ships and vehicles to the ever-expanding Wikelo's Emporium. And these new vehicles are going to be the Crusader A2 Hercules, the Crusader Ares Starfighter Inferno and Ion, and the Asperia Prowler Utility, with upgraded components and a unique base livery. These rewards can be unlocked by completing Wikelo's contracts. I thought it was a little weird that we didn't get any new Wikelo ships. I think the last, let's see, no, not the last two patches, just 4.3.1. Because we've typically had at least 2 or 3 new ones every patch, but now we get 4 in the upcoming patch, and some really, really good options there. I think I'm most excited to go after the Prowler Utility, because I tried it out a decent amount during the latest the Ship Showdown Free Fly, and I actually really enjoy it. It's quite fun to fly around, really, really stealthy, and it's really good for doing, like, if you are working in like a group you're trying to run Hathor and you need to collect the batteries to fire the mining laser, it works really well to kind of swoop in, quickly grab the battery with its bottom mounted tractor beam and be able to remain hidden. If there's like combat going on around you, you can still move around pretty well to get the batteries. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and some other good ships as well, a bunch of Crusader ones. So I'm sure the A2 will probably be quite a lot of stuff needed to get that. So we'll have to see if there's some new items that are added for these. But really looking forward to seeing some more new ships added to Wikelo. All right, so the next card is one that we do have an image for, and it's pretty cool. This is a heavy battle tech armor, adding a new heavy battle tech armor. So I'll throw up the image on the screen for you here. This kind of has a bit of a similar look to the new Corbel armor. This is a little bit less like blocky, I guess you could say, and it looks to have kind of more fabrics integrated into it, but especially like the helmet structure is somewhat similar to the Corbel helmet. So I personally like the look of this a little bit more than the Corbel armor. Again, it's supposed to be a heavy armor. I don't entirely know what they mean by a battle tech armor. I don't know if it's meant to maybe have some unique characteristics when we get more Starware features online. You can see there these kind of orange sections here look like wiring and stuff running around the legs or something. Maybe it's got some upgraded electronical components that maybe it has a better scanner, or I don't know, something like that. On the right side image here, though, you can see there's a new backpack, it looks like, with this. That backpack does look pretty nice. I just really hope they make like a black and red version of this armor, because I think that'd look really cool. The Corbel version that's black and red does look pretty nice, so I hope there's some really good color variations of this armor, but looks cool. I don't know if it'll be tied to the event specifically or just kind of a general new armor that's part of the patch, so we'll have to see, but pretty cool looking armor that'll be coming in 4.3.2. Next, we have new hairstyles for 4.3.2, adding 2 new hairstyles. This is one we also have an image for, so you should be seeing that. Some pretty, like, not crazy over-the-top hairstyles, just kind of a mohawk style there, and then I don't really know what you'd call the bottom one here. Just another kind of, like they said earlier in the year when they did an Inside Star Citizen with some of the devs for hair specifically. They said they were focusing on making kind of more traditional hairs, I guess, or like more normal, not like super extravagant hairs or anything like that. So that's what they've been focusing on this year. There's usually, with most patches, been 2 or 3 new hairstyles. So nothing too much to comment on for this, but adding more flexibility in terms of what you want to, customize your character as in the character customizer. So that's the new hairstyles we'll be getting in 4.3.2. And then the last 2 cards that are on this week's roadmap are cards that have been on there before but just have not made it into the game yet. That's going to be our AI FPS turrets, adding anti-personnel turrets for players to avoid or destroy, providing additional PvE challenges, and then mission pickup on location, enabling new missions to be discovered and added to journals when you approach or enter a designated area. Again, these have been added, I want to say it was also, like, initially they were on the 4.3 roadmap, and then I think they got pushed back to 4.3.1, and then they got pushed back from that patch, and now they're put on this patch. So we'll see if we get them. Sounds like at least on the FPS turrets, I heard from I forget, one of the devs commented on a Reddit post or Spectrum somewhere that there was just some unseen or like unforeseen challenges with how they reacted or something like that. So hopefully they've been able to get that figured out, and we'll see those finally make their way into the game. So that is all the new cards that we have for 4.3.2. Also, they list here for the progress tracker, they've updated a few deliverables for it. Reminder, the progress tracker lists like roughly how long they'll be working on it for, but it doesn't necessarily mean when that time is up that it's ready for release. Could require some other support from other teams and whatnot, but they mentioned that there has been changes for crafting, engineering, FPS radar and scanning, the inventory rework, transport refactor, and the command module. So let's move over to the progress tracker for a moment, and we'll take a little bit of a look at where they've extended them to, how long it says they'll be working on them, and then we can maybe speculate on what that means for possibly when we actually will see those features in the game. All right, so here we are in the progress tracker. Most of the stuff is going to be under the core gameplay pillar. There is one thing to note under character art and tech. There is still this redacted creature that's being worked on, it looks like, going through about the middle of October. There was a creature that was uh, data mined in some of the files as part of, I think, 4.3.1. And I thought there might be a new creature there, but have not seen anything. So that may be, again, something that's yet to come. It sounded like it was going to be part of the Onyx facilities, but haven't seen anything like that just yet. So we'll see if there's some further additions of that, maybe in this upcoming patch or in, maybe a November patch or something like that. But for the other stuff, we'll go ahead and open up the core gameplay pillar here. So base building, I don't think they mentioned that had changed at all, but that's looking like it's going through the end of October for some stuff. Again, I don't think we're going to get base building or crafting this year. I think best case scenario, we'd see maybe not the full version of them, but maybe like small and medium buildings come in or something like that, and sometime maybe spring or early summer of next year, possibly. The command module we can see, though, has extended quite a ways. Let's see, can I scroll over? So the command module looks like it's now going till the middle of February, which I don't remember where it was before. I think it was somewhere in December. So it looks like they have extended that a little bit. Maybe they've run into some challenges that they're like, yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer to get this sorted out so that that can be working for both the Caterpillar and the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault. So we'll see what happens with that. If we go back a little bit, we can see crafting here. Looks like we're going through middle of December now. I don't remember what that was before. I want to say it was somewhere in October. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more of an in-depth like demo of crafting and base building, maybe with some of the progress they've made over the past year. At CitizenCon, we might see that. Looking forward to seeing how it ends up working out, how you use the machines, how all that functions. So we'll see on that. Engineering has, I think, also been extended a little bit. I want to say it was also in October previously, but they may have had it just, maybe they have a little bit more that they want to do with it, maybe some polish and whatnot. Again, from what we know, from what Benoit said in the Star Citizen Live a week or two ago, it sounded like the Vulcan improvements and other changes that they've been testing in tech preview currently they need to get those implemented first before they can start the engineering tech preview. So hopefully that can get done pretty quick, and then we can get engineering testing, because I'd really like to see that in the game. Then we have FPS radar and scanning. This definitely has been extended a bit. We're going to the middle of December now. So I would say, going off of this, it's definitely going to be a next year feature. Hopefully maybe in the first couple of months of the year. Again, I don't know entirely what their plan is, if they're going to be doing still just more content and not so much features for the next year as well. We'll probably hear more about their plans at CitizenCon and maybe at IAE or something like that. But it doesn't look like we'll be getting FPS radar quite yet. On the inventory rework, also going through kind of the end of October. I'm sure they'll show some progress on that at CitizenCon. And hopefully we get that very, very soon, because the old inventory system really has some issues. So I'm really hoping they can get that figured out pretty quick. Then last of all, we have transport refactor. That's been reworking systems for like elevators and transit, like shuttles and stuff like that, and quantum and all those sorts of things. Still working on it. Looks like it's going through kind of the end of October. So we'll see. I think Benoit, I think he talked about it in the Star Citizen Live, and sounded like there was like some additional stuff they needed to do for it. So I wouldn't expect to see that in the game for several months still to be fully implemented. That'll probably be something that they test in tech preview first as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But some pretty interesting updates for the progress tracker and roadmap. But that is going to do it for this roadmap update, going over all the latest things that we can expect in 4.3.2 and the changes to some of the other features and stuff they're working on as part of the progress tracker. Again, I think a lot of good stuff it sounds like so far for the patch. I'm interested to hear what this event is related to. Interested to hear and find out what the new requirements for these Wikelo ships are, because I'm very excited to hopefully try and get the Prow utility. Very useful ship. And the new armor. New armor is pretty cool. And then, yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. If you have any thoughts on anything that we talked about on the roadmap, definitely let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to see more Star Citizen news updates like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. It's a very big help, and I appreciate all of you. I think we just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy and mind-boggling. So thank you all so much for that support. I'm gonna see what I can do. Maybe a giveaway or something around CitizenCon, related to the making 10,000 subscribers. So we'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the verse.